All right, I have a different take on terrorism, and it's one that there are a growing number of people who see things clearly, who understand where the true terrorists reside. Um, because even the terrorists, the ones that are spread all over the U.S. and Western media, and has infected the media, other international media, uh, can be boiled down to one fundamental fact, and that is Western legitimate companies and corporations and the backers and the financial backers behind that, the ones that they call shareholders, and the politicians and officials who have been bought and paid for, who have been bribed, thereby committing treason because it goes against common wealth and common interest. Because it goes against the very people they are supposed to represent. It is the one that sends its population to go fight and become murderers and be killers and be killed. It is the one that causes the ecological and climate disaster, which is a crime collectively against us all. So, what is terrorism? Terrorism is your Whole Foods. It is your Amazon. Uh, it is your Koch brothers. It is your Robert Mercers. It is your Tony Blairs. It is your um, GEs and your BASF. BASF. It is your Lockheed Martin. It is your Northrop Grumman. It is your British Aerospace. It is your the French Aerospace. Uh, it is it is your Samsungs, your Intels, your Microsoft, your Google, your Facebook, your New York Times, your BBCs, your it is your quote unquote elected officials. It is your it is the capitalist and the capitalist enablers. Those are your terrorists. PETA is not your terrorist. Greenpeace is not your terrorist. The World Life Fund is not your terrorist. Although, talking about those, there are elements in there that do commit fraud, scams. But the ultimate part is that it is your BPs, it is your Citgos, it is your ExxonMobil, it is your fracking industry, it is your natural gas industry, it is your tar sands industry. Those and those who own, who have stake, those are your terrorists. And those who have political and official status, those are the ones who are your terrorists. It is your FBI, it is your CIA, it is your NSA, it is your British intelligence. It is all of them and so many more. But all of it put together make up a tiny fraction of people. It is those are the ones disseminating the lies. Those are the ones who are disseminating division. Those are the ones who are making you fight yourselves and fight each other. Those are the ones who are committing eco-genocide, climate genocide, human genocide. Those are the ones who started, but it was also us, because we have taken those prescriptions and ingested it and put it into our lives, thereby putting ourselves in a prison, an open air prison, much like how Palestine and the Palestinians in Gaza live, well, survive and subsist in an open air prison. It is these terrorists who bring about this prison. It is we who buy into this prison industry of money, of power and influence, where the common interest flies out the window, where insanity and sociopaths fester and ooze and grow. This is terrorism. Whether it's eco-terrorism, economic terrorism, religious terrorism, whatever application you want to put it, it is all boils down to those who want to keep a system of money, thereby, through that money that we have bought into, that we help to propagate, that we help to keep in place, that we are part of the terrorists. We help it along. We keep it there. We self-impose this. And we are held in contempt for our own inequities, for our own stress, our own worries, our own insular divisions, in the infighting of here. And in here, that is where terrorism resides. And that is where we find ourselves, on the brink of an existential threat that will obliterate us, because we are helping to obliterate our natural environment, the one and only true home we have, and that is the planet. It is not this building that I sit in. That's not my home. My home is the planet itself. And the planet is what gives us life, what gives us viability. And it is also because we do not look for greater purpose, for greater objectives, greater direction, because we have abdicated our responsibility to ourselves, to others, and thereby the very home. We throw around our debris and trash, both physical and emotional and intellectual. We throw around our trash all over the place because we buy into it, because we are self-fulfilling. The prophecy of an apocalypse, and that apocalypse is not solely us. It is everything that is living. It is the one crucial aspect that we need, the one that supplies us with all we could need. And that is because we have bought into this. And those who say, well, we can't have education, we can't have innovation, we can't have growth and prosperity without money. And those who say that that is tied to law and order. And that is, and money is essential so that we can place ourselves and be the leaders and be the exception and be the innovators and the push. But that's not the case. We have this for a reason. All those who have money and lands and influence, none of them, not a single one of them, has ever created innovation. They have never built anything lasting. The Great Wall, the pyramids, those were simply things just like the wall for Trump is. It's a monolith to their own self-worth because they have no worth. They don't have the imagination, innovation. They are the terrorists. They are your equal terrorists. They are your economic terrorists. They are your social terrorists, your physical terrorists. Because one part of that whole system is religion. There is a religion, but that religion is only one. And that religion is do unto others as you would have done unto you. And that is the golden rule. And it has no gender to it. It has no skin tone to it. It has no shape of the eyes. Because it includes the natural world. When you do trophy hunting, when you hunt simply to hunt and let it go to waste, when you use up lands so that you can make a profit and you can make a living, that is part of the terrorism. We are part of the terrorist organization globally. We are the ones that allow for no peace. We are the ones that self-cage ourselves. We may be able to walk around, we may be able to do and say things, but we are our own terrorists. For we prop up the instigators. Those instigators are sitting there pretty and without the backlash that they so rightly deserve. And we have helped to create their insanity because we buy into it, because we willfully and willingly ascribe to it. And every time we buy something, and every time we go work for somebody, and every time that we allow the sale of our intellectual labor to them, then we are part of the terrorism. We, globally, are part of the terrorism. And it's a terrorism against the natural world, which we are a part of. We are the terrorists. We are the destroyers. We are the demons, the devils. We cannot separate ourselves from the natural world because we are part of the natural world. We cannot be concerned about insular issues where only family or yourself matters. We cannot say, oh, we can't there's nothing we can do about it because there is a thing we can do about it. We can divest from it. We can share our intellectual labors. We can share our physical labors. We can promote and innovate so that the entirety of the global community of nature, which we are part of, is beautified and sustainable. This current way we live, that we've been living for thousands of years, is our Armageddon. We promote our own enslavement, our own stresses, our own worries, our own hurts. We must do away with the current way we look at living, because that's not living, that is surviving, that is subsisting. If we want to be human beings, we got to throw away the animal part. We have to choose whether we want to be human animals where instinct overrides reason and rational thinking, rational logical thinking, thereby rational and logical emotions and clarity. We must do this or we will perish. Science has been saying there has been mass extinctions, and until we throw off the animal part of the human, then we will be extinct, and we will have done it ourselves. Humans have potentials to be human beings, but until we lose the animal, we will always be animals, and human has no part in it. The fact that we use human should say a lot. It is not human. It is a people. And we all are people. And unfortunately, human is the only term we can use right now. So we must be humanist. Meaning people. No gender. We must be humanist. And we must consider the wider nature, the very planet, as part of being humanist. Because we need it for our own survival, for our own longevity, for our own prosperity. And to have a broader, much broader, rather than this narrow tunnel vision definition of what it is to aspire to. And that is life. That is true living. This pseudo life, this survival and subsistence is not a life. Being a human animal is not a life. It is not a life. We have tied ourselves in a knot, and we must undo this knot so that we can advance forward and achieve that future that we all know is there, that we all aspire to reach. Thank you for your time.